Oh, he's not going to be happy. He's not going to be. Afternoon, everyone. Atamarie. We are going to open a meeting and then we're going to close it. Adjourn it. Our esteemed reporter won't be that happy about that, but we have sat for hours without lunch, and I'm going to call for an adjournment till what time? 1:45. Is that what you need, guys? 1:45, and we'll be back at 1:45. Apologies, everyone. I will see if there are any apologies. We've got Councillor Naidu-Rofe for part of the day, apology, and full absence, sorry, and also Councillor Donovan for full absence. Partial attendance says me, but I'm actually here and I'm going to be here. I'm not sure.
Just this one.
Oh, this one. Sorry, the bottom one. Okay, so nobody's. I just moved that those 2 absences be approved. If he's not here and hasn't put his apologies in, I don't tend to.
Okay.
I think it's an obligation on councils to reflect their own apologies. So he's absent at this point, unless anybody has had a formal request for apology from him? No. Okay. All right, so I move that the apologies be accepted. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. Oh, yes, thank you. Maxine, second. Confirmation of the agenda is as circulated. Also move, seconded by Deputy Mayor Angela. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. Are there any declarations of interest on the matters before us? There being none, we'll move over and to the public forum. And just note, we did have somebody who would have liked to speak, but all of the changes to the timing of the day no longer work. But he will be able to consult, well, to submit to the consultation. So that's just the way it went, unfortunately. So then we'll go to item 5, which is the recommendations from open committee meetings. And we have the Strategic Growth and District Plan Committee. Sarah? Moved. Seconded by? Emma? All in favour? Opposed? Carried. Strategic Risk and Assurance. Maxine? Is it you who's going to move that? I can, yes. Move it, which is the adoption of the 2023-24 annual report and the approval of our climate statement. So Louise is seconding. Perfect. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. Right, we're now on to item 6, which is the alcohol fees bylaw. Oh, sorry, did you really want to talk about it, James? Oh, yes. Congratulations, James, on your staff award. Richly deserved. I think it's always a measure of a really good, successful staff lead-up if we don't actually have to re-debate everything, so they should take that as a compliment that we didn't need them to stay. No, don't take that as an insult that you're here, though, will you? No. Fresh topic, fresh topic. All right, off you go.
Ahia hi Marie i ngā kai kaunihira. Ko Narella ho, ko Corey Lang tēnei. Kei kōnei maua to present the alcohol fees bylaw to request for approval to consult. So an alcohol fees bylaw would enable council to increase alcohol licensing fees to improve cost recovery for alcohol licensing activities. Council currently uses the licensing fees set in legislation 11 years ago. Staff requested member feedback on preferred cost recovery rates in October. We heard back from one member, and this feedback has largely provided the basis for the staff recommendation in this report. I will note that we're aware of further member interest to put a motion to consult on a higher cost recovery rate. So members have been provided a handout to show the cost recovery projections and licensing fees for this possible motion. The appropriate next steps to progress a potential bylaw is to engage with the community about the proposal to create a bylaw. So staff are seeking that members determine the bylaw is the appropriate mechanism to set these fees. I'll note it is our only mechanism to change the fees in legislation. Approve the draft bylaw, the draft statement of proposal, and approve for consultation to take place early next year. I just want to make one additional note that there's a minor typo in paragraph 23 and in attachment 1, which refers to an 84% cost recovery rate in 2025 and 26. Just to confirm, that is the 83% that's in the financial table, so it's just 1% off there. Otherwise, Corey and I are happy to take questions.
Questions, anyone? There being no questions? So the motion is?
Sorry, Councillor Sarah and I have put a motion together.
Yeah, just waiting to see it. If you like to, but just a very quick explanation. It's fairly straightforward.
The current process doesn't cover the actual cost and requires ratepayers to subsidise. We have to go out with two options, so we're saying we'll go out with that, a continuation. Then the other option is that we endeavour to cover costs, which sees a dramatic increase initially, but it reflects the actual cost. But even then we don't quite get to 100%, it gets to 96%.
Okay, has anybody got any questions about that? Because I think it's pretty straightforward, really. Okay.
Just a question in terms of the 96% and not 100%. Is there something that's an anomaly around that?
Great question, Councillor. Thank you. If I may answer, in conversation while drafting the report and our recommendation and research, there is an illustration within the legislation and within the guidance documents that are put out around the necessity to have a public good element to the work that is carried out in the alcohol space. So two parts. One is about the public good and about being accessible for public to have access to the service and be able to engage in the service. The other element to it is that we have done our modelling currently on our workflows and work volumes. And so with the modelling that we've done, it's difficult for us to determine how future legislation change or policy change might determine peaks and troughs. So to ensure that we're not over-recovering, which is something that councils or TAs aren't able to do, we've made the recommendation and suggested that we go just below. Having said that, we will carry out and are required to carry out ongoing annual monitoring and report to ALA. So as we do that monitoring and reporting, we'll be able to understand where is it that we're sitting with our cost recovery model and adjust if required.
And so there won't be any fear of us over-recovering with that 95% in your view?
Not based on the modelling that we've done on the current information we have, no.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, Sarah.
Corey, can you confirm what's in the motion for option 1? Is that 95 or 96%, just to be totally clear?
So in the option 1, we've got 95% for the first 2 years, and then that will drop down to 94% in the preceding years.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't say that though.
Yeah, should
it not be amended?
The motion, yes, the motion is correct in that it's talking about the fee increase, and the outcome of that will be the 95% cost recovery for 2 years and 94% in the 3.
Right,
Yeah.
got you. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, any further questions? If not, we will go into debate. We'll start with the mover, please.
Thank you, Mayor Paula. This, in my opinion, is very straightforward. In the past, ratepayers were paying more of a burden for the rights of commercial applicants to apply for a licence and the process and the costs associated with that. And I think that's unfair. The legislation does require us to turn our mind to the element of public good, but I think the new proposal put in front of us sways that in a more balanced way, where the most responsibility, and I'd suggest 95% responsibility, should be borne by the commercial applicant, who will be able to derive the commercial benefits of running an alcohol, a facility to sell alcohol. After all, they can claim back the GST, they can claim back the fees against their taxes, and the ratepayer shouldn't be subsidising it more than the 5%.
Any further debate? Councillor Thompson?
Paula, I think that these fees are a cost of doing business, and while everyone's doing it tough at the moment, that includes general ratepayers, whether they be commercial or residential. And so we also, while businesses might look at this and say it's increasing their costs, if we don't do it, then the cost to general ratepayers increases instead. We aim for around 100% recovery of our building consent fees and fees for other parts of our business, so I think this is consistent with that. I think this is also a rather unique situation where with most of our fees, we don't specifically go out and consult with a targeted consultation on a set of fees, and so it will be interesting to see the feedback we get, because no one really wants to pay more for a service that they're paying for. But we've talked about moving to more user pays where it makes sense and where it's fair, and I think this is one of those places. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further debate? I just might add one comment into the debate, which is noting the comment made by staff that the original fees were set 11 years ago by government. We do find ourselves in a perverse situation with some of our fees, not just this one, and levies and stuff that are set by government and get very behind, aren't subject to inflationary adjustments or anything. So after 11 years, you can imagine we've been going backwards significantly on recovering the costs in this area. So let's go to the vote.
The motion is carried unanimously.
Okay, we'll go into the Wairere Drive speed limit change. The approval for consultation. So just noting that that is really what we're doing here. We haven't made a decision. We're making a decision to consult, which is always a good first step. Hi, Robin.
So just a quick summary. This is a process that we've been through before, back in 2020-21, and as a result of the speed limit rule change this year, the fact that we had previously approved the speed limit has now ceased to have effect, and in order to allow or enable foodstuffs to proceed with their development, we need to go out and consult and on the proposed 60k speed limit for the section of Wairere Drive between Arthur Porter Drive and Puketi Road. This will in turn allow them to proceed with the construction of traffic signals at the Kawera Place intersection with Wairere Drive, and then to proceed with their development work. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Oh, gone.
Yeah, no, I answered it myself.
Okay, excellent. Any further questions on this? If not, we have a mover. Angela, you're the mover. And do we have a seconder?
Yes, I'll
Second. All right, we'll go to the debate, starting with the mover, please.
Yeah, I just want to thank staff turnaround with the consultation document. I gave some feedback to frame the story more around the macro reason of why we are doing reconsulting. So it was a quick turnaround, so thank you for that. It is more about just reducing the speed here. It is about delivering a vital economic new supermarket for the northwest of our city, so the stakes are quite high. And my focus was, if we solely, with the consultation document, if we solely focused on the speed limit, we risk getting the same result as we did last time. We may still get that same result. We need to have open minds. Obviously, this is a formal process. But for me, the uncomfortable caveat at the end of the process is that NZTA will make the final decision regardless of what council and what the community say through their feedback. But the bigger picture for me is what I'm focused on. Council made a decision, and as Chair of Infrastructure and Transport, I've taken it upon myself to speak publicly about that decision. The supermarket will create jobs, it'll boost our local economy, and it will provide essential services to the northwest of the city, and Council's been very clear on that. So thanks again to staff. Excellent turnaround for the consultation document. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? No? Oh, yes. Councillor Bitter?
The actual problem is a right turn lane from the westbound Wairere Drive at Kariwa Place. I note that this is fully 1 kilometre away from the Pack and Save site, which suggests local government overreach in the resource consent. Wairere Drive was designed as a major arterial route essential to keep Hamilton moving, with a design speed of 80 kilometres per hour and few intersections. The 60 kilometre per hour limit is to be enforced because the right turn lane does create danger. This is against the whole purpose of Wairere Drive, and it should be avoided. So why have the right turn lane? It is to avoid pressure on the Te Rapa intersection. If you think about it, this added pressure can only be significant at the morning rush hour when westbound traffic peaks. This is when people are heading to work. Generally, people don't do grocery shopping on their way to work. The solution is simple. Amend the resource consent to leave out the right turn lane. No raised platforms, no consultation, no 6-month delay. Done.
Thank you. Any further debate? No, we'll go to the vote, please.
The motion is carried, noting that Councillor Bitter is dissenting.
Thank you. It brings us to a resolution to just exclude the public, doesn't it? So I move that Anna moves that the public be excluded, and seconded by Maria. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. We're now into closed meeting for the time being.